Welcome to our session. Today, we are going to be going through our roadmap, so what's new in Tableau Cloud and Server. But before we start, I'm sure you're all very tired of seeing this at this point, but we are a publicly traded company, so please make any and all purchasing decisions based on currently available products and services. And I want to say thank you, as well as a congratulations for making it to the last session of the last day of Tableau conference. I hope you all have safe travels home. Thank you so much for spending the past 3 days with us and for spending this next session with us as well. I'm Amy Lynn Loyacono, and I'm a Senior Director of Product Marketing at Tableau, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues, Harveen and Fatima, so I'll let them quickly introduce themselves.
Thanks, Amy. Hi, everyone. My name is Harveen Kathuria. I lead the AI product team for Tableau Cloud and Server. I've been with Tableau for about 7.5 years, and I'm based in Seattle. Fatima?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Fatima Kalkatawala. I lead the admin experiences team for Tableau Cloud and Tableau Server. I've been in Tableau for 10 years now, and I'm from Seattle as well.
And we are so lucky to have them both here today. Y'all can have a seat while I get into some of the presentation. So we've got a jam-packed agenda today. We're going to be walking through the 4 pillars of our product roadmap strategy. So we're going to start with artificial intelligence. We'll talk about exploration and analysis, connectivity and security, and then platform administration. But before we get into that, I want to quickly set the stage and ground you in the values and the core concepts behind our product strategy and roadmap. And it all started back in 2003. Many of you have been on this journey with us, so thank you so much for being there. And Tableau has really led innovation in data and analytics for the last 20 years. What started with desktop and server eventually expanded into public, cloud, even next. And we're continuing to bring innovation across the entire portfolio. But since the beginning, we have always grounded that innovation in our core mission to help people see and understand data. So in all of the eras of analytics, whether that was visual analytics or self-service analytics or even augmented analytics, we have always done our best to ensure that the products continue to be easy to use, intuitive, visually advanced, as well as personalized, accessible, and on demand. But AI is everywhere, right? AI is changing the way that we work, and it's changing the way that we work with data and analytics. So I hope you heard in the keynote earlier this week, Southard and Mark Recker talked about the evolution of data and analytics in Tableau. And it's really an opportunity for us to take advantage of this new innovation that's happening across the tech landscape and bring that into the data and analytics world. And agentic analytics is really founded on these core principles. These key layers are what we believe are necessary for data and analytics in the agentic era to really work. First, it starts with data. It's always started with data, right? We need data that comes from multiple different sources to be able to actually analyze the full breadth of the data underlying the insights. Next, on top of that, we now have knowledge. Knowledge is really what makes context-aware agents able to provide accurate, trusted, reliable results. And so that business context, that organizational context that's unique to your own organizations is what is supplementing data to create that knowledge engine. And then finally, we have insights. Insights you've always known and loved in visualizations and in dashboards, now expanding with conversational analytics, engaging with agents in order to gather more insight on demand. And then finally, action, allowing you to scale and orchestrate decisions across an entire organization with a few clicks of a button or through an autonomous agent. That's what drives the decision engine. So these are the core components that really bring together our product strategy for this new era of data and analytics with agentic analytics. But the good news is that many of you are not starting from scratch. Customers have actually been building this core knowledge engine, this key knowledge and context that enables agents to be accurate and trusted all along. So every time that you were creating a complex calc, or if you were certifying a data source, or if you were creating and curating a metric layer, what you were actually doing was building the explicit knowledge necessary now for agents to be effective in this new agentic world. So congratulations, you're starting not at zero, but you're starting with Tableau, and I think that's a great place to start. So with that, I'd love to bring on Harveen, who is going to walk us through our first chapter around AI coming to Classic and Server.
Thank you so much, Amy. All right. Like Amy said, thanks for being here. It's late in the afternoon. Really appreciate you all being here as we speak about what we're doing with Cloud and Server. As you heard during the keynote, we're bringing AI, the Agentic platform, to all our product portfolio, to the whole product portfolio, whether it's Tableau Cloud, Server, or Next. So before I get started into like what features are available today, what's coming up next, as a product person, for me, it's very important to communicate the strategy. While we have the overall business strategy, we're thinking about where the industry is going, what is our product strategy, what are our pillars of investment. The first pillar of investment is all around self-service analytics for the business user, the data consumer, the person who does not use is using data to make decisions, but data is not their job. These are your dashboard consumers, as we call them internally, or the business users, as we call them. We want to make self-service analytics easy for them with AI. Tableau has always made it easy for all the users. With AI and the conversational analytics part of it, we are taking it to the next level. Next, we want to make sure our core audience, our analysts, are getting a lot of benefit with AI. For them, we are making sure we are infusing AI in their workflows, in their existing workflows, making it easy, those tedious tasks easy for them. Last but most importantly is extensibility for our data dev community, our developers who are building custom solutions, who are using MCP tools, who want to do more with the Tableau platform, and we'll continue to make investments there. So let's talk about what's available in the market today. What we have today for both Tableau Cloud and Server is the Tableau agent in the worksheet and prep products. Within the worksheet experience, you can use the Tableau agent to create visualizations, to create calculations. This is a very good assistant for that novice analyst, somebody who is new to Tableau, somebody with an Explorer license who wants to do a little bit more with agent, wants to do their own exploration. Agent helps you do that. Prep, we have an agent available that has two main capabilities, which is around creating those transformations and calculations. Tableau Agent in Pulse, this is the conversational analytics experience for our business users. You can ask questions in natural language and get responses in the Pulse experience. Tableau MCP today is an open source project. You can go to the GitHub page, learn a lot about MCP. We have various tools available as part of our Tableau MCP server as well. You can use basically any AI application that you're using today, whether it's ChatGPT or whether it's Claude, to connect to Tableau MCP server and use the various tools that are available through the server. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that the tools that will be available in the MCP server will be based on the entitlements that the user has. All right, what we have for the analyst is the AI embedded. I talked about how we are infusing the current workflows with AI such that we are, making those tedious tasks easy for our analyst. One of the key investments that we've made so far is around not only the agent, but making custom color palettes easy. Just with the use of a prompt, you can now generate a custom color palette. Now let's get into the roadmap and look at what's coming next, and then I will give you a few demos as well. Tableau agent in dashboards. This is going to be an agent where a business user can ask a simple question in natural language, get responses. Initially, we'll start with the what and the why type of analysis, supporting those. And as we move forward, we'll be adding more capabilities. I will give you a demo of this where you can learn, where you'll get to know a little bit more with respect to what capabilities it has today. AI-powered global search. while dashboards, creation of dashboards, building more dashboards is important, but let's also be honest, finding the right dashboard at the right time to answer the question based on what you already have is a bigger problem to solve. And that's the problem that we are solving with the AI-powered global search. I'll give you a quick demo of this as well. But this is where think how Google Gemini search has changed our search experience. Think Google Gemini search experience for Tableau data from Tableau homepage. I can ask a natural language question in the search field, get a quick summary overview of the response, as well as a visualization is generated, and links to existing content so that I can dive into further details and explore my data with agents as I move forward. Integrated MCP app, as I talked about, we have as an open source project today, we have the Tableau MCP server available. We are also looking into how we can bring some MCP apps more embedded in various AI applications. These are the roadmap highlights. This is a time to take a picture. That being said, keep in mind our roadmap changes. We pay attention to what's happening in the market. We pay attention to what our customers are asking for. We pay attention to what are the big problems that we need to go solve. Hence, while this is our current roadmap, there is possibility things may shift. All right, if everybody's got an opportunity to take a picture, I will move to demos. All right, let's start with AI-powered global search. These are live demos. This is, an actual demo build that my dev is also working on. So if there are bugs with this demo, I just want to give you a heads up that's quite possible. All right, so let's look at that. So imagine that I am a business user. I want to know what are the top 10 best-selling products. I can simply ask the question from the search field, and this is where the Agentic AI search will come into play. Now, what is happening in the background, it first goes through, obviously, understanding the query, the intent detection. Then it looks at what are all the dashboards, data sources that are tagged as AI ready. We don't want to go and look at dashboards or data sources that may be in somebody's personal space as part of the site. We will focus on the artifacts that have been tagged as data ready and use that for retrieving the answer. Obviously, this experience is a little bit slow right now because this is a demo build, but we will see an overview of the response with a visualization and links to various content as that will help you drill down further and ask more questions as we move forward. All right. I'm going to move to the next demo and come back to this, if that's okay. This is dashboard agent for the business user. This is in the dashboard. You can ask questions, get key insights using natural language. With a simple click of a button in Dashboard Agent, I can get an overview of a dashboard. For a moment, imagine that I am a salesperson, and this is a new dashboard that I'm looking at. I don't know what I should be paying attention to or what exactly this dashboard is all about. With a simple click of a button, I was able to look at a dashboard overview. What is this dashboard all about? I can also get to key insights of this dashboard using the agent. Now, how are we generating these insights? This is not just based on us giving a picture of the dashboard to an LLM and getting the insights from an LLM. This is where we are using a proprietary insight service to generate those deterministic insights. So this is not something where there'll be hallucination and there'll be with LLMs. Yes, we use LLMs for this, but the LLMs are mainly used for the summarization of the information. As you can see, I can click on each insight. It starts with an insight summary up at the top. I can click on each insight, and as I click on various insights, each visualization or worksheet in my dashboard is highlighted. Now, when I change a filter to something different, agent comes back with and informs me that something has changed in your data. You may want to refresh the insights. This is more of an interactive experience versus the static experience where you're throwing something to an LLM, where you've taken a screenshot of a dashboard and thrown it to an LLM. All right, let me go back real quickly to see, oops, like I said, this is a live environment and there's an error. I apologize. Let's move on to our demo with the agent. All right, let's keep going. Now, this is great. I've got an overview of the dashboard. I've got the insights, fantastic. As I look at this dashboard, sales are definitely down in January of 2026. I also see the returns are up. Now, the sales could be down because of seasonality issues. I'm not too worried about that. What I am interested in understanding is why are the returns so high? So I'm going to use some key shortcuts here and put in the question in natural language in the agent. I'm curious to understand what were the average sales and returns for the last year. And this is where agent will come back with a response. It'll again go through the same process of understanding the intent, looking at the metadata, looking at the data source, not just looking at what visualizations are in the dashboard, but also the data that backs the dashboard. And it came back with an answer. The average sales and returns numbers were generated. And I can also use, to a certain degree, look at the potential SQL query that was used. I'm going to ask my next question, again, using some shortcut keys here. What are the top 3 products with the highest returns? This is the next question that I've asked. It'll come back with a response. So this is, again, the whole process or the back and forth that you generally have when you're as a business user, where you have a question that is not answered by a dashboard. You go back and forth with the analyst, and then the analyst creates a new dashboard or comes back with the answer that you're looking for. This makes it easy for me to just answer those questions right there when I need it with the agent. As you can see, it came back with a table visualization of what the product name and the returns are. Fantastic. I can now move on and work with my team to look at what were the reasons for the returns and proceed with my analysis further. Now let's move on to Tableau MCP. I'll give you a quick demo of Claude. Whoops. Thank you, Claude. I am aware of these. Thank you so much. All right. Let me first show you the setup of Claude that I have here. Under extensions, as you can see, I've set up my Tableau MCP. So I've downloaded the Tableau MCP server onto my desktop. I'm now connecting it using Claude. The way I connect Claude to Tableau MCP is by providing it with the server name, the site name, the PAT token. The current authentication mechanism is your personal access token or PAT token. I put in my PAT name, the token, and I enable it. Simple as that. I can now go back to the chat experience and ask a question. I'm going to use a shortcut key again here. This is where I'm asking a question right here through Claude about using my Tableau data sources, give me the top 5 products, units by sales. This is where now Claude is going to look at what kind of connectors are available, then work with the Tableau MCP server and all the tools that are available through Tableau MCP, query the data, and then come back with the response. While it's returning the response as well, it is also going to create a visualization on the fly for me. As you heard from Amy, Tableau has become that knowledge engine, that one place where you have all the context, the brain for the agents. I really think of the knowledge engine as the brain for agents. And as we nourish our brains with good food, reading, exercising, I am playing board games like Mahjong to nourish our brains, you all have done that part already with all the investments that you've made in Tableau. As Amy talked about, your data sources, your published data sources, your dashboards, the metadata, the metrics, that's all available today. So the interface layer from where you're having the conversation with agents doesn't really matter. We bring it natively for you. You want to use Claude, we bring it in Claude as well. But the key is that governed, trusted context layer, that knowledge engine, which is Tableau. So just like that, I was able to get an answer using Tableau MCP and Claude as well. While this is a demo where I used Claude as an AI application, this could very well be ChatGPT, Slack, Teams, and more. All right. I am now going to hand this over to Fatima for the rest of the presentation.
Clicker. Thanks, Harveen. Oh, sorry. Okay, so Harveen talked about all the AI that is available or is going to be available in Tableau soon. Now I'm going to walk you through on the cores of Tableau, about the visualization, about the data, and everything that involves in running your Tableau servers and Tableau Cloud. So we're going to first start with exploration and analysis. This is where your dashboards and your data story actually comes to life. We have a simple goal here. We want to give our analysts all the tools that are required to make raw numbers into polished and compelling data sources. So we've launched rounded corners. You can add radiuses to your dashboard objects, and that's going to convert your grid-like rigid dashboards into modern dashboards with geometric aesthetics. We have custom color palettes in desktops. You can create, using AI, different color palettes, save them, and reuse them across your workbooks in your desktop. We've launched Viz extensions. These are essentially new custom visualizations which are not available natively in Tableau, but you can get them from Tableau Exchange. Today, we have about 70 plus trusted Viz extensions that are available. Those are reviewed by Tableau, and they are badged by Tableau, so you can use them without any problems. All these dashboards are only as good as the data that is underneath it. So we all know about published data sources. We're going further with published data sources. We are launching something called as composable data sources. What it essentially does is the published governed data sources that you have available today, you can reuse them, you can relate them for your different use cases. So essentially, it saves you data prep time. You already have content that you trust. You can reuse that to answer your other use cases and other questions. Let's dive into a quick demo on how this works. I am a bookstore manager, and I want to plan for my next quarter's inventory. So to do that, I want to first look at what my previous quarter sales were. So I have a published data source, which gives me all the information about my sales. So I'm going to open that published data source. It is trusted. I know it has all the information from like quarters sales. But just raw numbers on sales isn't enough for me to plan on what I should put in my bookshelves. So I'm going to add another published data source here, which includes all the information about the books, like who's the author, what's the genre of the book, so I can see what kind of books are getting sold. Just like when you bring in two tables, you have to relate the tables, you have to relate your two data sources. So I'm going to do that here. You find a field that relates to the two data sources. In this case is the ISBN number. And then you can see the data from both of these data sources is available here. You can now create further different calculated fields and more data in here to just create another published data source. You can publish this as a composed data source so that it can be used in the future again. For my dashboard, I'm going to look at what Viz extensions I have that I can use here. So this is Tableau Exchange. You can see we have a lot of them. Let's use the radial by Tableau here. It is essentially a sunburst diagram, which will show me what my sales looks in a pretty way. Let's go find our sales number, put that in the measures here. I want to see which genre of books are getting sold the most. So I can see sci-fi are the ones which people are reading a lot of sci-fi books. I also want to see what are the formats of the book. Are they going for hardbound, paperbound? What kind of books? So I'm going to add that and visualize that further. So as you can see, I have more information about what my sales was about. As a bookstore manager, one challenge I run very often, which I assume a lot of you run, is my metrics, my revenue metrics, my revenue goals are not defined in Tableau. They are defined somewhere else. And in my case, it's in Snowflake. So now I'm juggling between Tableau, where my data sits, my metrics that's in Snowflake, and I'm either copying them over or I'm going between the two of them. And this can be very tiring and exhausting at some point in time. So I'm excited to share that we are launching something called as external metrics and semantic integration. Think about this as today you can bring a table of data in Tableau. Soon you'll be able to bring a table of metrics into Tableau. And then you can use your table of data, table of metrics together in Tableau to do all of that powerful analysis and visualization. This is just not a feature. This is actually a lot more than that. One thing that we've heard constantly from our customers is they're really tired of defining their metrics in multiple places. Where the data is, they have to define the metrics in different places, and keeping them consistent is really hard. So along with our partners, we are leading an initiative called as the Open Semantic Interchange. The goal for this initiative is very simple. We want you to define your metrics in one place, and we want you to use them everywhere else. There are 3 pillars for this initiative. One is seamless flow of metadata and metrics. Regardless of where your metadata and metrics is, it can flow without any friction between different platforms. Unified governance and lineage. Security, access, and controls are usually attached to your metrics. So we want them to flow with your metrics. So the right people have the right access to those metrics wherever they are. And finally, native query delegation. We want the query execution to happen where your data lives. So that way, wherever you view your results, it is consistent. So this is what our roadmap looks for this external semantic layer integration. Today, we can integrate with Tableau semantic layer, DBT, and Looker. In the future, we want to be able to bring the metrics that are defined in these systems into Tableau. Our goal is we want metrics to be first-class citizen within Tableau. So we want to go further and want to integrate into the Snowflake and Databricks semantic layers and have the ability to bring their metrics in the system as well. The next is all of what I've shared above is going to work if you're able to bring your data in. So for that, our focus is we want to be able to connect to data wherever it is securely, so you can bring that in and then you do all those powerful visualization, data analysis on top of it. So within the data management and connectivity, we're doing a lot of investments. We've launched the beta for the new S3 connector. We are making authentication to your data much easier with the service principals for Databricks, OAuth support for Hadoop, for Snowflake, and SharePoint. We've also launched a REST API connector. This is really exciting. You can now connect to your REST API data without writing a single line of code. Think of a web data connector for your REST API. Just put in your REST API endpoints and click connect, and the data is going to get pulled into Tableau. For Bridge, we're continuing to invest into it and make it more powerful. We are launching a full set of REST APIs for you to be able to manage your Bridge pools and your Bridge agents. Additionally, we are also going to bring in a full web authoring for your Bridge published data sources. I hope everybody's still with me. I know this has been a long session with a lot of information, but I promise this is pretty much the last section here. We have all these cool capabilities of Tableau. The next question is, how do I run this at scale at my enterprise? For that, we are focused on building Tableau, which can run securely and is compliant with all your security needs. Our goal is to make admins efficient. We want them to be able to manage the deployments easily. And lastly, for Tableau Cloud, our focus is on increasing observability of your deployments. We want them to understand what's happening in their systems. So recently for Tableau Cloud, we've launched IP filtering self-service. With this, you can control where your users are accessing data from. Soon, you'll be able to secure these connections even more with inbound private connect, which is going to use private links under the hood. And last, when you are in cloud, your data runs in AWS. And when AWS regions go out due to multiple reasons, you don't have access to your data today. Business continuity is a problem for a lot of customers. So we are building advanced cross-region disaster recovery, where you will be able to fail over your sites from your primary AWS region into a secondary region with just a few clicks of button, ensuring that whatever happens to AWS in one region, you can still move your data around and get access to it in a different region. For our server customers, we're not leaving you all behind. We are making investments for you guys as well and working on our server as well. Starting the summer release, server is going to be available with every release. We are taking away the predictability and the confusion that server admins usually face is like, hey, do I get a server release in this release? Every release will have a server release, and all the features that you've heard right now, our goal is to get you those features as soon as they are available. In addition, we are expanding the server OS support. We are bringing in RHEL 10 for Linux-based servers, Windows Server 2025 for Windows operating systems. Another thing we're doing in server is the dynamic scaling of server resources. With this, you can scale up your server during your peak business hours in the day or during your end of quarter, end of your business time, peak business times. And when your load subsides, you can bring it down. Our goal is we want you to run your Tableau server cost effectively. So this is going to help you to scale it up and scale it down on demand. I'm going to walk you through a couple of features that we've released recently, and I'm too excited about them. The first one is the Unified Access Token. We are modernizing the way you do identity management and identity access in here. So we're using JSON Web Tokens, or JOTs, as you may have heard. So with this, you can replace the personal access tokens with this new industry standard security authentication method. This is available in cloud today, and it's going to be coming to server in the future. For our admins, we've heard constant feedback from people that, hey, admins' permissions are just all and nothing. They cannot delegate work that admin can do to the other users on Tableau. So we're introducing something called as admin profiles. You can create custom profiles with this and assign those profiles specific limited permissions. These can now be assigned to your different creators and explorers. And with these admin profiles, these users will be able to do admin-specific tasks without getting full admin permissions. So your admin gets more efficient. They can delegate the work to different people within Tableau to do things. This is coming to server first in summer and will be available in the cloud later in the year. Cloud capacity management. This is something that's coming up new. We are building this in top of Tableau Cloud Manager. You probably, if you're on cloud, you've used this as a cloud admin. It gives you a single pane of view for all your sites. It has made multi-site management much easier. However, one of the challenges admins continue to face is the capacity or resources that are assigned to the sites. They're limited, they're static to the sites, and they always run into problem when they're migrating from server to cloud because they cannot scale on their server deployment styles. Predictability, they cannot predict performance and results from their different jobs because resources can be constrained on a site. So with cloud capacity management, we will move away from site-based static limits to tenant-based limits. And we will assign limits based on your Tableau edition and the number of creators you have. So they're more equitable. Like the more invested you are, the more things you get. And with this, you will also be able to see how your capacities and your resources are being used across your Tableau sites. And if needed, you can redistribute that. So it gives you more flexibility on how you're managing your multi-site deployments in cloud. This is going to be available soon. Finally, I'm going to talk about observability. In server, today, an admin has everything visible to them. They have full access to telemetry, usage data, audit data. They can see and understand how their server is performing. Cloud has been historically a black box. Like admins really don't know what's happening other than some of the information they get from admin insights and admin views. So we recently launched a Platform Data API. With Platform Data API, you can get access to your audit logs and your usage logs. We're going a step further with that. With Entity Snapshot that's coming later this year, you will be able to get a snapshot of the underlying Postgres database that powers your deployment. We're going to give this in a format that is Parquet format, which you can plug it into your existing workflows for your governance and anything you have, and then take the insights back from that into running your cloud deployment in a better way. Our goal for Tableau Cloud admins is give them as much visibility as a server admin has in server with these observability features. So yeah, I hope everybody's still with me. This is all we have for you. And here's a quick recap of everything we've spoken that Amy's going to go through.
Yes, I promise you we are on the very last few slides. And I know you all love taking the photos of our roadmap slides. So please take photos. I hope you saw today that we are committed to continuous innovation and improvement across the entire portfolio, across the entire platform. I think that's evidenced by all of the AI features that Harveen showed us earlier, as well as the great announcement that Fatima shared that server releases are coming to every major release, meaning 3 times a year consistently. And this is something that you can continue to follow along with. If you follow this QR code here, you can continue to check out all of our latest releases, all of the latest and greatest. And with that, I just want to thank you all so much for closing out TC with us. I hope you had a great conference. We enjoyed all the conversation. If you have any questions, feel free to come up, and hopefully they won't close down the shop while we're wrapping up. Thank you all so much.